So welcome back. So today we're going to look at basics on how to read maps. It is important to understand how to read maps before you buy a piece of property. If you're planning to invest in property, just have the basics, just to save yourself from, as I always say, fraud and other challenges that you're likely to come across when you're buying a piece of land. So the first thing that you're supposed to do, map simply, even before I continue, is simply a representation of what is on the ground. As you know, map, whatever you see on the map should also reflect on what should be the same as what is on the ground. But there are those inconsistencies, because simply what you're trying to do is to present a 3D, a 3-dimension object on a 2-dimension, or that piece of paper is 2-dimension. So there could be some mismatch or inconsistencies, but approximately what you see on the map should be the same as what is on the ground. So the first thing to be able to see whether what you're buying is exactly what is represented on the map is ask for a copy. Whoever is selling that piece of land to you, ask for a copy of the title. So once you get that copy of the title, there are a few things that you're going to see from that copy of the title. First thing you'll be able to see, especially the first page, you're going to see the location of that piece of land. For example, if you're buying from Kiambu, some places in Kiambu, for example, Kiambaa, Ruaka, Kiambaa, Mbegwa. If you're buying some places like in Machakos, you shall see Mavoko, block 1, and a number, parcel number. You're also going to see location and parcel number. Next thing that you're likely to see there is the approximate size of that piece of land. For example, if it is a 50 by 100, you're likely to see something from either ranging from 0.45 to 5, which is given in hectares. And the best way to convert is simply just to understand, for 1 hectare, 1 hectare is equals to 2.7 acres. So simply multiplying by 2.47 acres, the number that you're going to see there, multiplied by 2.7 acres, you'll be able to approximate the size of that piece of land in acres. So just that. So the next thing that you're likely to see there, of course, is the name and the ID of the person, the owner of that piece of land. You'll be able to see that under that page 1. The next thing that you're likely to see is the sheet number. That parcel of land, as I was saying, as you were saying, we talked about maps, is simply a representation of what is in the ground. If that parcel of land is registered, you're supposed to see it on the map. It's supposed to appear on the map. So whichever sheet it is in, of course, maps are many, and we're saying there are many for different areas. Even a single area can have, for example, if you're in Kiambu, there are so many maps, and they have sheets. So that piece of land, you'll be able to see which sheet it is appearing in, so that when you go to get the map, you'll be able to know which map to ask for. So if the parcel of land that you're buying, you don't see it on the map, you should be a bit hesitant to engage, in my opinion, and make further inquiries why it doesn't appear. Most probably you could be using an old map, and after subdivision, there are updates and revisions that are done. So most probably that map doesn't have that. So it is good you follow up. You get to ask the seller, why is that parcel of land not appearing on the map? So again, if you're using an old map, you can also use page 2. There's a section on page 2 that tells if it was part of a subdivision, where did it come from? What was the name of the mother title? You'll see something like the parcel of land. Let's say the parcel of land was 1090. You shall see 1090 subdivision of, and you'll see another number there. That means it is the mother title. So that number, the mother title, you shall be able to see it on the map. That is in case you're using an old map. But if you don't see that, again, after subdivision, there's something we call inserts. They are put there. So you shall be able, if the map is updated, you shall be able to see somewhere. If a subdivision was done, you shall be able to see an insert. And you can buy that insert to be able even to get a better view of how the area looks like. If you do all this and you don't find, your parcel of land, in my opinion, I would advise you not to engage, because could be that land is not registered or it doesn't exist. and that means that's just a piece of paper. So be careful when you're engaging in such transactions. So make sure you inquire in case it doesn't exist. That information you can inquire from the land registry that has registered that parcel, where to get the maps from. But for Nairobi and its environs, you can get them from Survey of Kenya, which is along, I think, Thika Road. For about 300 bob, you can get that sheet, because you have them, as we said, you read it from the title deed. So once you get that sheet number, you can buy it from the Survey of Kenya for about 300 bob. So once you get that sheet, the next thing that you're supposed to do is reading. So there's a legend there that you're going to see that guides you where north is and where south is, the imaginary north, the imaginary south, east, west on the map. But sometimes I find it very, very impractical, to be able to tell once you do a site visit where the north is. So I prefer using certain, scenes or certain items that are on the ground to guide you. For example, if there's a tarmac, you shall be able to see it on the map. If there are public areas, for example, a police station, a market, a public school, you're going to see those things on the map. So you can use them to find direction. So whoever has taken you is supposed to explain to you, like a class 5 kid. Let them explain to you. And as they explain, try to connect what they are telling you, what you're seeing on the map, with what you're seeing on the ground. It should be a match, especially in developed areas where there are neighbors, there are roads, especially the tarmac. If you see a tarmac somewhere, you can place a map, showing you how the tarmac, where the tarmac is going to and where it is coming from. And from there, you'll be able to connect, what is happening on the map and what is happening on the ground. And if there's a mismatch, ask question as many questions as possible as you see clarification. Another way you can, get to know if you're buying a plot where there's a neighbor, it's quite easy. Just, talk nicely to that neighbor, go ask them, what is their parcel number? And then once they tell you, you come and compare which is the next parcel. You see the parcels around, you'll be able to see if yours is next to his or, theirs. It's quite easy. You'll be able to tell your neighbor, if your neighbor pass plot number is 11, yours should be either 12 or 10 or something close to that, depending on how you have placed them up. So it's quite easy in developed areas. But if a place is not developed, I encourage you, please don't take that risk. You'd rather engage a surveyor, because it's an investment. This is a long-term investment, and you need to get it right. So there's no point of saving 10,000, 20,000, trying, the amount that you're supposed to pay a surveyor to help you locate that piece of land. You save it and then you lose 1 million. So it is important that don't try to save this cost. It's a long-term investment, to minimize risk, engage a surveyor. But in developed areas, it's relatively, easy to be able to tell where a parcel is. So we're going to do it practically here, and you'll be able to see. I'll be searching a certain parcel of land on my computer, and you'll be able to see how you can maneuver when you get into such a situation. So this is a sample of a title deed that we are looking at before us here. So the title number, as you can see from there, is Goirofi Dioni 602. Normally, so that's how the title number will appear. Maybe a bit different in some areas. Maybe the name will be different. Then the size of the plot, you can see here, it's 2.04 hectares. As we said, to convert this into acres, you just need to multiply by 2.47. And if you do that, it's about 5 acres. Then the registry map sheet number, we said, for you to be able to locate your title and to be able to know which sheet to buy. So this is sheet number 6. So down here, you'll be able to see the name of the owner and the ID number. From page number 2, you'll be able to see almost similar information. However, in case there's a subdivision, you'll be able to locate that information here. So it will be written something like we had 602 here, 602 subdivision of a certain number, which was the mother title. So you'll be able to see that. Then again, there's some information here. This is the date when the first entry was made in the green card, and the other part is when the title was issued. So that is the kind of information we're likely to find on page number 2. So once you get that sheet, that is sheet number 6 in our case. As you can see from here, it is sheet number 6. So normally maps are written to scale. So this, as you can see here, 1 to 5,000. This could mean maybe 1 inch on the map is represented by 5,000 inches on the ground, or 1 meter, 1 centimeter on the map is represented by 5,000 centimeters on the ground. So it's something, when you're reading the map, it's good to ask what the scale stands for. So all you need to do now is to check where 602 is, and I just need to scroll down, and I don't know whether you can see from there. Let me zoom in to scroll down and see where 602 is. So you just need to follow. These are 600 and 500. So I can see 616 here. So they're moving down. 613, 612, 610. I continue scrolling down until I find 602. So I can see 602 is here. So that's how easy it is to trace that on the map. And the good thing about 602 here, it is touching a certain road here. So if that road exists on the ground, it's quite easy to locate 602, as you can see from here. Again, as you're saying, there are other beacons that you can use, such as sites that exist. For example, I can see a shopping center here. So if this shopping center is existing, so you're able, when you're standing on 602 here, you're able to see that shopping center. So it's a bit easy using other existing, beacons, other existing items on the ground. You are able to compare. And let's say if 603, the neighbor there, has built a house or has fenced or something close to that, you're able to see that. You can, as we said earlier, go to them and talk to them nicely, and once they tell you, you'll be able to know whether you're neighboring 603 or you're neighboring 601. So that's how you can easily, identify a parcel of land. But as I said earlier, it is important, if you don't understand, you have a professional to do that for you. I hope this information was useful. In conclusion, these are basics. If you're not sure what you're doing, I always encourage, engage a professional to make sure you get your investment right. So see you next time. Thank you for watching.